Welcome back to Sunday Night Live. I'm Marc-Anthony Jackson, and joining me tonight is Iain McLoughlin.
Hey, thanks, Mark. It's great to be back again.
Last week, we
It's
looked at the latest job numbers from the United States. This week, we're bringing the conversation home and looking at what Canada's newest job numbers tell us. Sunday Night Live is where we go beyond the headline and give job seekers and employers something practical that they can use. Tonight, employment increased and unemployment fell. But the more important story is who is getting hired and why employers and candidates still struggle to find each other. Canada did not suddenly enter a hiring boom. Employment moved up slightly, but the opportunities are uneven. The challenge now is not simply finding more listings, it is identifying where real hiring demand exists and reaching the right conversation before the opportunity appears.
and Mark, that's where Guhuza matters, right? It helps employers and matched interested candidates connect with while the hiring need is alive.
Exactly. So let's see what's underneath the Canadian headline. Canada added approximately 18,000 jobs in June. That's not a very big number. And
No,
unemployment fell from 6.6 to 6.5. Youth unemployment increased by approximately 33,000, but most of that increase came from part time work. Employment increased in accommodation and food services, while it decreased in manufacturing, agriculture, and utilities. Private sector employment also edged up, while public sector employment declined.
right. And job seekers should not treat Canada added jobs as though every field is improving equality. Look at your occupation, industry, and region, and consider adjacent roles that use the same skills. The national number is an average. Your journey happens in a specific occupation, in a specific place, at a specific moment. A better headline does not replace targeted strategy. And Guhuza helps by matching people active hiring needs instead of asking them to guess where demand may be.
And employers also need to be clear that the position is active and be ready to speak when the suitable person becomes available. Now let's go on to more vacancies, not meaning less competition. Iain, if you want to start off that
Right.
one.
Canada had approximately 500 and, 506,700 job vacancies in the first quarter of 2026. That was the first quarterly increase in job vacancies since 2022. But there were still roughly three unemployed people for every available vacancy. And the total number of vacancies remained lower than it was 1 year ago.
Opportunities are appearing, and we both understand opportunities are appearing, but competition is still real. Focus
Definitely.
on positions where your background clearly connects to the work and the employer is actively hiring. A vacancy is useful when it is active, accurate, and connected to a real hiring decision. Job seekers cannot afford to chase stale opportunities, and employers cannot afford to lose qualified people inside a slow process. Guhuza brings both sides together while the need is current.
Right. And Guhuza also confirms current interest. That matters because a resume collected several weeks ago may no longer be represent a candidate who is available or still interested.
And now we can talk about the degree squeeze. The
Oh.
degree squeeze, that's a hard word to the degree squeeze. One of the most revealing numbers involves people with higher education. Competition was highest among people with a bachelor's degree or higher. There were approximately five unemployed people with the education level for every vacancy requiring a bachelor's degree or higher. So, Iain, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, education still matters, but a degree by itself is not separating candidates the way many people expect. Job seekers need to define the work they can perform and only the credential they earn. Employers should also avoid using degrees as automatic filters when the work can be performed through relevant skills or experience. A degree may qualify someone to enter the competition, but does not guarantee access to the employer. The next advantage is relevance, matching the person's capabilities to a real need and letting both sides speak. That's the part Guhuza is designed to accelerate.
100%. So for candidates, choose a clear target. I have a business degree is broad. Let's be real, it's very broad.
Oh,
Saying something more
yes.
like I can support recruiting, coordination, client communication, and HR administration gives the employer something usable. So on that note, Iain, let's talk about part-time growth and
Oh,
the quality of the job opportunity.
the youth numbers improved, but most of the increase was part-time. That can still provide income and experience, but job seekers should ask about hours, compensation, responsibilities, and future growth.
Employers also should be transparent about those details from the beginning. A candidate may be interested in part-time work, but they still need enough information to determine whether it fits their needs. A job count tells us that someone is employed. It does not tell us whether the hours are stable, whether the pay is workable, or whether the position leads anywhere. A live conversation lets candidates and employers clarify the quality of the opportunity before either side wastes time.
Right, and that's another way Guhuza helps. The interview is not only an opportunity for the employer to assess the candidate, it also allows candidates to ask direct questions and decide whether the opportunity is genuinely stable, suitable.
And now we're going to move on to why the Canadian labor market feels frozen. So the Bank of Canada also pointed to unusually low labor market turnover. Layoffs remain relatively low, but job finding and job changing are also weak. Many people are staying where they are for a while others take longer to get the employment that they're looking for. So, Ian,
Right,
what's your
and
thoughts?
that creates a market that can feel frozen, right? Employers have records from people who applied in the past, but they do not know whether those people are still interested. Candidates may see opportunities, but they don't know whether the employer is ready to move. When turnover is low, timing becomes more important. Employers need to identify people who are interested now, and job seekers need to assess the employers with a need now. Guhuza turns matching interest and availability into a live conversation instead of another record stored for later.
That's exactly what it is. So job seekers should keep their availability current. Employers should not contact someone weeks later and assume they're still available. Guhuza creates a clearer signal for both sides. The employer has a current need and the candidate is currently interested. That's what we're looking for. So now
Right.
on to the sector mismatch, Ian. You got some points on this.
Recent vacancy growth was led by sales and service, trades and transport, and natural and applied sciences. Vacancies declined in health occupations. That does not mean everyone should immediately change careers. It means identifying which skills can move across industries.
And that's very interesting because we've been seeing for weeks, months now that the health occupations have been increasing. But for client service, scheduling, reporting, sales support, data handling, and a project coordinator can appear under many different job titles. The employer may describe the need differently from the job title and the candidate really originally had in mind. Let's be real, it happens all the time. Many people are not missing opportunities because they have no useful skills. They are missing opportunities because their skill and the employer's need are described in a different language. Accurate matching can reveal a fit that the title based search will never show.
Guhuza helps connect a person's background to the employer's actual hired need. Uh, the live conversation then allows both sides to confirm whether that match makes sense.
And now we're going to talk about the entry level bottleneck. So young people
Ooh,
still face a difficult entry point, and we talked about this last week too.
yeah.
The Bank of Canada has noted that the share of jobs requiring little experience may be falling. It has also observed weaker job finding rates in occupations that are more exposed to artificial intelligence, although it is too early to say AI is the main cause of it, right?
Right. Employers should examine entry-level requirements carefully. If every junior role requires previous direction, employers block the people who need that first opportunity. Job seekers should define what they can contribute now and what they are prepared to learn. Entry-level hiring should measure readiness, not demand that someone has already completed the journey. Guhuza gives employers an earlier chance to assess the person's behind the experience count, and gives candidates a chance to explain where they can contribute now.
And this does not remove the standards, right? It replaces an automatic rejection with a more informed decision. Employers can still ask serious questions and assess a candidate properly, but the person gets an opportunity to explain their potential directly. And then what job seekers should do this week. So for those job seekers out there are four practical actions that you could take. Choose 2 or 3 clear job targets. Review which industries and occupations are active. Keep your resume and availability current, and be prepared to speak when a relevant employer is ready. Do not measure your week only by the number of applications you submitted. Measure whether your activity, is in creating relevant conversations. The goal is not to be visible to every employer. It is to be visible to the right employer at the moment they have the need. So Guhuza helps create that moment by matching your background, confirming your interests, and moving you forward towards a live interview.
And also decide your minimum conditions before the interview. Know what compensation schedule, location, and type of work you will accept. A faster conversation is more useful when you're ready, understand what you're looking for.
Now, Iain, what should employers do this week?
Oh, employers also have 4 practical actions. Confirm that the position is approved and actively being filled. Separate essential qualifications from preferences. Decide who will conduct the interview and make the decision. Then be ready to speak when matched candidate becomes available. Guhuza can reduce the distance between a hiring need and a qualified, interested person, but employers must be ready to use that access. A real-time interview works best when the role is clear, the decision makers are available, and the conversation can be led somewhere.
The technology provides the connection, really. The employer still provides clarity, respect, and a serious hiring process. Guhuza helps employers reach the right person more quickly, but the organization must be prepared to respond when that person appears. So, in our closing today, the June numbers are encouraging, but they do not describe one simple market. Growth was uneven, youth gains were mostly part time, and competition remains high. And this is why Guhuza's is a real time interview marketplace. It connects an active hiring need with matched and interested candidates, and helps both sides move from interest to a live conversation. When the match is real, the next step should not be more waiting, it should be conversation. So Iain and I talked about a lot of different things on our Thursdays, but I wanted to make a mention to join us every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern for our live Q&A. You can watch on LinkedIn Live or join the conversation directly through Zoom. The links will be in the description. Bring your questions about the job market, hiring, or your own career situation, really. And be sure to follow Guhuza on our various social media pages to stay updated on our live conversations, upcoming events, new content, and everything else we're working on. So thank you again for joining us on this Sunday Night Live. I'm Marc-Anthony Jackson.
And I'm Iain McLoughlin.
And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much. Have a great week,
See you
guys.
guys.